Alright guys, welcome back to another video on WeMTB, and today I'm going to be telling you about the difference between a 1x drivetrain and a drivetrain with multiple gears at the front. So, I'm going to be using 5 simple categories to gear which one is better, and I'm going to be ranking which one is better from a 1 to a 2x or a 3x. So the 5 categories we will be using to gauge which kind of drivetrain is better. Number 1 is reliability. So you need a reliable drivetrain that isn't going to break down on you and fall apart. Number 2 is climbing, because climbing is one of the most important parts of a drivetrain because you need a lot of range to go up and down hills. And number 3 is cost effectiveness. So you want something that's not too expensive and gonna break the bank unless you have a huge budget. So cost effectiveness is very important for some people. Number 4 is weight. So you don't want something that's insanely heavy, otherwise that's gonna weigh down your bike and that can make your riding experience worse. And number 5 is gonna be simplicity. So you want a simple, effective drivetrain, because if it's like too complicated, you're gonna get shift anxiety, which means like it's no-go to try and shift, and it makes you nervous of shifting because you feel like you're gonna break your bike shift. So talking about these drivetrains, the first category is reliability. So reliability is basically, it's one of the most important things. If you don't have a reliable drivetrain, then your whole bike is screwed. Every now and then all drivetrains are going to break down to some point, but you can fix them and service them, but if they are constantly breaking, then that is not something good. So you're going to want a reliable drivetrain. And typically most people will think of 1x as a much more reliable source as a drivetrain, because a 3x or a 2x even, a lot of the time, since there's 2 gears at the front, basically, you're going to be having lots of extra change so that it can accommodate those 2 gears at the front. And since the front derailleur can't be as complex as the back one, where it moves and shifts to make it so the chain is still tight, basically you're going to have a lot of slack chain that's going up and down and hitting against your chainstay and things like that with a 3x or a 2x compared to a 1x. So typically most people will think of a 1x as more reliable because typically it breaks less and it's more useful. So here are some slow-mos of which one hits the chainstay less and is more reliable. So here are the 2 climbs set next to each other. So these 2 clips side by side should give you a pretty good representation of what it's like to climb on both drivetrains. Much surprise, the 1x was quicker than the 2x/3x because a 1x is just a simpler drivetrain and it sometimes can have more range. So talking about cost effectiveness, drivetrains are one of the more expensive parts of a bike. A drivetrain also, besides it being one of the more expensive parts of a bike, can differ between which drivetrains. So there's something called a group set, and a group set is what there's different brands, there's SRAM, there's Shimano, there's things like that, but the group set is what specific set or line of drivetrain you have. So my bike has Shimano Dior, which is a pretty entry to mid-level, more towards mid-level probably, drivetrain. It's nice, it's a 1x10, and my brother's bike, which has a 2x9, has a Shimano Tourney 2x9 with a front and rear derailleur. So typically, even though it's actually larger and more metal, a 2x is actually going to cost a lot less, or a 3x is going to cost a lot less as well, just because a 1x has more precise cogs that have to be machined, and the chain is longer, and the rear derailleur has to have much more range and also be much more well designed so it doesn't break apart. So a 1x is typically going to cost more, and a 2x or a 3x is going to be cheaper, but there's some trade-offs for that. The fourth category is weight. So weight is one of the important parts of a drivetrain, and every time a 1x is going to win out. Every time, I can guarantee you, almost every time. Unless you have some crazy 3x, a 1x is going to win out, because you remove a derailleur, you remove huge gears at the front, you remove rivets, you remove guards, you remove things like that for a simple derailleur at the back and one bigger cassette. And you can remove about like a pound of weight from your bike just using a 1x drivetrain. Again, number 5 with simplicity. A 2 or 3x drivetrain is much less simple than a 1x. So 1x only has one derailleur, and there's something that some people get because of having a 2 or 3x called shift anxiety. And shift anxiety is where you feel nervous to shift your bike because you feel like you're going to mess it up, you're going to go flying. But a 1x eliminates that. You only have one shifter, and it makes it much easier for you to just change gears, and it's much simpler and giving as much or more range if you have an extremely high level cassette, basically. So yeah, it's much more simple. So basically, the consensus is that the 1x drivetrain wins in every category, basically, except for cost effectiveness. It is a far superior drivetrain, and it powers your bike much better than a 2x or 3x. But if you still can't afford a 1x, it's really fine to get a good 2x or a good 3x drivetrain. Thank you for watching another video on WeMTB, and I hope this video was helpful or you found it entertaining, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.